This is a video to help you with question 5 of the AQA GCSE English Language paper. It's a writing task which will ask you to inform, explain and/or describe. So thinking about the difference between these three. So if you go to the doctor's, you will tell the doctor how you feel, and here our little stick man saying, my throat feels like something has scratched it and my head feels like someone is hitting it with a hammer. There you're describing, trying to get the doctor to have a vivid picture about what's happening. Now the doctor will tell you what's going on, give you the facts. Hopefully you have a cold here. Okay, so he's informing you what's going on. Then hopefully, again, the doctor, he or she, will turn around and give you a bit more information. And this is them explaining what a cold is and will tell you more. So informing is just giving factual information, explaining is giving reasons, and describing is about creating images and pictures through words. First of all, we need to identify. You get your question 5 or your task 5, and first of all you need to think about form, audience and purpose. Form. What are you being asked to write? Is it a blog? Is it an article? Is it a letter? Is it a speech? And you're going to need to show that you're aware of the conventions for that particular type of writing. If it's an article, I wouldn't worry about putting columns or anything like that, but you think about headlines and subheadings, and how an article will start is much different from how a letter will start. If you're asked to write a speech, you're still going to need to remember paragraph, sentence structure and punctuation. Just because it's something that would in reality be spoken, you're being assessed for your writing, so you need to show that you do know how to write. The audience. To whom are you writing? Okay, is it parents? Is it other students? Is it teachers? And that will dictate the language or the tone that you use in your writing. And your purpose, that is the why you are writing. And for question 5, that's inform, explain and describe. You need to think about this acronym next. Okay, so step 2 is to think about leaves. The L is linguistic devices. There, now you see why we've gone for leaves. You need to think about a forest, which hopefully you're all aware of. If you're not, I'll go through the aforest devices in the next slide. E, it needs to be engaging. It needs to be interesting. Okay, people should want to read on, so you need to engage with your audience. A is appropriate tone. Okay, so making sure that you have got the formality right. Okay, you're judging the humour right, if indeed you are going to use humour. Vocabulary. It needs to be sophisticated. In other words, you need to think about, posh words, posh complex words. If you're concerned about spelling, don't be. Yes, spelling is important. Yes, you are going to be assessed for spelling, but the examiners would much rather see you use complex, sophisticated words and spell them incorrectly than using simple words and spelling them correctly. So if there's a difference between, spelling, aim to get all words spelled correctly, but don't get scared about using a complicated word just because you don't know how to spell it. E, you're going to need to provide examples, okay, give reasons, give justifications, particularly important if it's an explain task. And then the S, it needs to be structured. Okay, think about if you're giving instructions, directions to someone to get from one part of town to the next. You will of course make sure that follows a logical structure. You're not going to start halfway through the journey and then go back on yourself. You start from the beginning and go through. And again, your writing needs to be structured in a similar way. So the aforest devices. A is for anecdotes, stories from personal experience. That helps contextualize what you're saying, but also alliteration. So successive words beginning with the same letter. Makes it stand out, makes it engaging, can also add emphasis. Facts, statistics, and evidence that might back up a point that you're trying to make, or an opinion, a belief that is unsupported by evidence. Rhetorical questions, questions that are used to provoke a particular response from the audience or in the audience, so to get them thinking about the answer. Equally, emotive language, words or phrases that are used again to provoke a response from the audience, get them think about a particular emotion, make them sad, happy, angry, scared. Sarcasm. Now, for sarcasm, just think about humour in general. Of course, this helps your writing be engaging, but remember, you've got to think about appropriate tone as well. So, humour is not always appropriate, so you need to think about what you're being asked to do in the question. And then finally, triadic structure. This is just a fancy way of saying the rule of 3, which you should all be aware of. Repeating words 3 times or giving reasons, giving 3 reasons to add emphasis, to make it stand out, and also to make it memorable. 3 is the magic number there with memory. We tend to remember things if they're repeated 3 times. So let's have a look at some examples of the questions. This is an informing question, as you can see there, and this is all these questions are directly copied and pasted from an exam, from exam papers, so they are actual exam tasks. So we see write a letter, which you will hope will be published in your local newspaper. Inform readers what leisure facilities are available for young people and families in your area, and explain how they could be improved. You can see that it's an inform but also an explain. We see that the form is a letter, so you need to be aware of the conventions of letter writing, and it's for a local newspaper, and it's young people and families, so that is your audience. Next, an explain task. Write a brief article for a website of your choice telling your readers about an interesting or unusual journey or travel experience you have had. Explain why it was memorable. Okay, so you need to give reasons here, but there's also a descriptive element here, thinking about an interesting or unusual journey. The form here is a brief article for a website. Now, it doesn't give a specific audience, so you've got a bit more freedom there. Think about what website you might be writing for, and that might imply a particular audience. And then the describe question. Write an entry for your online blog which describes a time when you felt uncertain or unsure about a situation you were in, and explain how you overcame it. You can see it's describe. We have another online blog, and again, an audience is not explicit within the task, so you've got a bit more freedom there. Top tips. Be creative. This is a creative task, and the examiner is going to want to see you. You need to think about it as a piece of creative writing, essentially. If you get stuck with creative writing, think about personal experience. You don't have to share anything you don't want to with the examiner, but the old adage is write about what you know, and this can help you, using actual experiences. It will certainly help you describe the event more if it's something that you've experienced personally. Think about perspective, think about viewpoint. Can you change that viewpoint? Can you think outside the box, think a bit left field, and therefore be a bit more original, make your writing stand out? And remember the leaves in a forest. Okay, so remember those linguistic devices. Remember to be engaging. Remember to use an appropriate tone. Remember your vocabulary choice is important. Remember to provide examples. And remember that it should be structured. Okay, so logical structure. Remember all those rhetorical devices: anecdotes, alliteration, facts, opinions, rhetorical devices, rhetorical questions, emotive language, sarcasm, and triadic structure. And finally, remember literacy. This is a writing task, so use paragraphs, think about sentence structure and punctuation.